Are going to actually talk about Chicago women pioneers in comedy. We're going to be talking to Marsha Warfield, Adele Gibbons, and Melanie Comarcho. It's going to be a really interesting show. I'm looking forward, especially Marsha Warfield, because I'm going to tell you, one of the first smart comedy shows, and I'm talking about in the vein of Taxi, and I'm talking about in the vein of, Taxi is one of them, Cheers, Frasier. Night Court was the first one, and it still cracks me up to this day. So I'm looking forward to this. So Marsha Warfield, Adele Gibbons, and Melanie Comarcho. And it wasn't easy for them to get to where they were. It really wasn't. But they've all had stellar careers and have done so much. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. Why you wanna come for me? Why you wanna I'm just so excited to have a time where we can build up Black comedians, and especially Black female comedians, and that's what we're going to be doing for the next hour. My name is Perri Small, and you are listening to Midday Madness. And you know, there is so much madness in the comedy field. And one of the things that that bother me is that there have been so many talented Black comedians who, they're successful when they go to the clubs, they sell them out, when they go on tours with the Chris Tuckers and when they go on tours with the Cat Williams and Kevin Hart. I mean, people love them, but they have had some challenges that we're going to talk about today. But first, I would like to first welcome each of them. Marsha Warfield, shout out to Marsha.
Hello, how are you?
All right, Adele Gibbons, shout out to Adele. You there, Adele?
Hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now. And Melanie Comarcho. Hi, Melanie. How are you today?
Hi. What's up, Chicago? How y'all doing out there?
You know, this is such, I was looking at some of your YouTubes, and specifically you, Melanie, you've had a lot to say about specifically Black comedians, and you know how sometimes you guys are dissed not only by, you know, these great comedians that are out there, but you all are still going through, and I never thought this. Why do we have to look a certain way in every aspect of our lives? If you're an actor, if you are a model, if you are if whatever it is, if you're in video,
if you're a cashier at the grocery store,
if you're a cashier, yes, it doesn't matter. And for us to have these conversations and to hear people and trying to pit us against one another. Listen, nobody is hating on Tiffany Haddish and her rise, her meteoric
at all.
No,
open those doors for everybody else.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and I just wanted to say to Marsha before we get really started, Marsha,
yeah.
I tell people all the time that Night Court was the first of the smart television comedies. After around Taxi came after that, Frasier, Cheers. Would you agree that Night Court kind of set the tone of what comedy on television comedy is really all about. Marsha, it was fantastic. Night Court is still funny as hell. That's all I gotta say.
Well, Night Court was a different kind of show. They were, most of the shows at that time had become family shows and took place in people's homes. And Night Court was a workplace show in the tradition of like Barney Miller and stuff like that.
Right, Barney Miller.
Night Court was like a sitcom on acid. It was a crazy show. There were no holds barred. It just was insane. So it was a kind of what's the show from the George Slaughter, Laugh-In.
Yes.
It was kind of a sitcom plus Laugh-In
yes.
kind of vibe. It was its own madness.
It was.
So, Marsha, did that make it a great workplace?
It was a great workplace for me. I walked into a hit show that by the time I got on the show, it was already number 4.
I mean, did you enjoy being with the other comics on set?
Yeah, it was the hottest night in TV. There was must-see TV. So we were the anchor and bridge. We were the anchor of the sitcoms and the bridge to Hill Street Blues.
I think that you were asking, what did you enjoy being on a show where there were other comedians? Like
a lot of times, after they cut, they don't even talk to each other. But you said it was.
Oh no, I never experienced that. I never experienced none of the shows I've done. I've never experienced that. I mean, everybody. Family situations, workplace situations have their drama, but I never experienced that you walk down this side of the hall and I'll walk down that side and I won't be on set while you're in the building kind of stuff. I never experienced that.
And Adele, you were on Moesha, the Parkers, the Steve Harvey Show, and you had a recurring role on the Tracy Ullman Show, which I loved. Did you have a good experience on these different sets? And do you feel cheated that you didn't have a starring role in television? Did you ever think you deserved to have a starring role on a sitcom?
I do. I think so.
Thank you. I was, first of all, hello, ladies. Hello, Melanie. Hello, Marsha.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm looking forward to Marsha's birthday. Is next week on the 5th, y'all. Just in case y'all didn't know.
Thank you.
But I was treated fairly. I don't remember having any issues. Also was very new at that time and wasn't real trained in terms of television and film and stuff like that. And they were very kind to me and helpful to me. They, helped me out a lot. I haven't experienced a lot of issues, but I think when you're floating and you're happy and you're doing what you love, it's difficult to pay attention to negativity like that. And I had a starring role. I actually did my own sitcom. It just didn't get picked up for network. I still have a copy of it. It was never titled. It was only the Adele Given Show.
Oh, okay.
The pilot. We shot the pilot, and we Tony Woods was a love interest of sorts in the sitcom. But it was good, and I thought it went well. I still think it does well compared to sitcoms today when I look at it. So I've got the. You can still get it out there.
Yeah, you can get it. Yeah, you can stream it or anything.
Yeah. Yes, you can. Well, I don't know that I own it to do that. I mean, HBO gave me back then you would do a special on HBO and they would give you a package deal where you get the opportunity to do a sitcom, and that's what I had.
What about you, Melanie? Did you ever want to do a sitcom? I mean, I know that you were on some of the hottest tours with Chris Tucker, Maxwell, Martin Lawrence, and Cat Williams. But was television anything that you ever wanted to do?
Well, I think every comic wants to eventually do television. Sure, I did, and film and anything else, connected with my comedy, but it didn't happen. And sometimes God takes you on a different journey, and I'm just grateful for what I've been blessed with. I have become the most toured comic in America. Nobody has done as many major tours as I have.
That is awesome.
So for that, I'll take that blessing right there.
Yeah, that's a blessing. Oh my goodness, we're in River City now, and what's so funny, guys, Marsha's from the South. Marsha Warfield is from the South Side of the city of Chicago. Adele Gibbons is from the West Side. Melanie, you were born here in Chicago, right? And moved, and you're raised in California.
Right.
Wow.
I was born on the South Side, and I moved to LA when I was 8.
Wow.
So, yeah, 89th and King Drive, right on the corner.
I lived right off 90th and King Drive.
Did you?
Yes.
Small world.
That's just.
I went to Dooley Park. Did you go to Dooley Park?
Every day. Used to ice skate there. Used to go in the field house there. Watch my little brother play Little League there. It is still a beautiful park.
I swam there.
I swam there, and I don't know if the tennis courts were there when you were there.
I don't think so.
Oh, and they're still world class tennis courts. People from all over the Chicagoland area play there now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
But guys, what do you think it is about Chicago that we have? There is so much talent, always has been. I remember, looking and finding out how many famous people went to DuSable High School and Phillips High School. Just all of these different people have just done so well in law, in doctors and lawyers and elected officials and all of that. What do you guys think it is about Chicago when it comes to comedy? Was Chicago a good city to get started in comedy? Any one of you?
For me, it was definitely for me. I can't, but I think the time that I started doing comedy was also a great time. But Chicago was bustling with great comedians when I first started, and then they even produced one of the first Black-owned comedy clubs. All jokes aside,
That's
when
right.
I was coming up in it, so it was a great time for me in Chicago to be a comedian.
And I know, Marsha, you love coming back to Chicago, don't you?
Oh yeah, that's my hometown. It'll always. You can't take the Chicago out of people once they've been there. But I have to make the point that back in the olden days when I started and before, one of the places where comedy grew that doesn't get enough credit is WVON.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
The good guys.
Oh, the good guys used to really promote you guys, right?
Yeah, but the Electric Crazy People was our laugh-in. It was a radio laugh-in, and every day there was Orlando and Rudolph Browner and Carolyn. I can't think of her name, but when you talk about women in comedy, you have to mention her. I can't think of her last name, and she's going to kill me, or they're going to kill me for not knowing. But that was probably a big part of my influence.
That is incredible.
Taking that kind of
when we had our 50th anniversary, we had it at the Chicago Theater, and anybody was there. If you would have dropped a bomb on the Chicago Theater, everybody that meant anything to the Black community would have been gone because it was there. And what people did the real party was in the hallways. Even though we had this wonderful program, you know,
So I'm talking about so it's
it was
over.
just
Yeah.
great.
Sober. OBER. No more relationship. Stupid ass.
Oh yeah, that was Melanie Comarcho, and we're paying homage to Marsha, Warfield, Adele Gibbons, and Melanie Comarcho, who are our queens of comedy today. Marsha and Adele and Melanie, and I'm going to start with you, Marsha. Who inspired you? What comedians inspired you?
So many people still inspire me, but when I was a teenager, Flip Wilson was my first real comedy crush. Before he identified Geraldine as a character, he used that voice as just a generic female voice. But once he identified Geraldine, I wanted to be Geraldine. I wanted to be that kind of strong, forceful person, and had her own sense of self and didn't take anything from anybody. And and I thought Flip was very clever and very, subtle, and he had an intellectual kind of sense of humor that really appealed to me.
What about, okay, go ahead.
Probably my first crush.
Oh, your first crush. What about you, Adele?
As far as influences, I have to say my mom and Richard Pryor were my biggest influences to do comedy. My mother was a comedian. She just didn't know it. I mean, this lady had everybody laughing. Everybody loved in the neighborhood, they called her Mama Nellie because they just wanted to go around her because she was just naturally funny. And I think I picked it up from her. But Richard Pryor was who I used to sneak and listen to, like most little people that didn't have any business listening to the language he was using. And I must say, yesterday I was listening to Richard Pryor. He never gets old to me. He made such great stories. He put great points. He always supported his community in his comedy. I think Richard Pryor was one of my biggest professional comedic influences.
What about you, Melanie?
Well, when I started doing comedy, the only show I ever saw was Delirious. I never saw any stand-up. When I taped Def Comedy Jam, I had never seen it.
Really?
I was a single mother. Not a single mother, I'm sorry. I was married with 2 kids and going to school, and there just wasn't any money in the budget for HBO.
Oh, okay.
So I never saw it. I didn't get to see Def Jam until after. I didn't even know what it was when they told me I booked it.
Wow.
Everybody was excited. I'm like, what is... Oh, I just knew I was going to New York. I was excited about that.
Right.
And then the comedians that I did see after I started doing comedy, the ones that I saw, because I didn't see Adele, they looked kind of masculine to me. I didn't want to portray that.
Right.
When I take my first Def Jam, I wore a jacket and some thigh-high boots.
Oh.
In 92. No skirt, no pants. A jacket and some thigh-high boots is what I wore on my first Def. So I didn't really have any influences until after I taped Def Jam, and then I saw Adele. She became one of my first influences because she was the first that I saw that was funny as hell and looked like a pretty girl.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a surprise for you guys and for all of our listeners. I have a surprise guest on the line. I actually had an interview with his sons. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Titus. And mystery guest, say hello. And mystery guest, say hello.
Hello, good morning, good morning.
And do you recognize? Do any of you recognize that voice?
That's not Barry White. Barry White.
It is the wonderful Paul Mooney. Mr. Mooney, how are you today?
Good morning to you. How are you? Good morning.
Oh my goodness. When you hear, let me first say to you, Mr. Mooney, you have some wonderful boys. I'm sorry, I'm getting you mixed up. How you been doing, Mr. Mooney?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great?
And much better than I can hear you.
Oh, that is so sweet. Let me ask you,
now I hear you, I feel much better.
All right, then, we have been paying homage to female comedians. What do you think that black female comedians have gotten the recognition and the kind of accolades that they deserve? I mean, I think about how Moms Mabley was such a big influence in the black community.
No, they have not. No.
What do you think we can do better as a society? Because, you look at Marsha, and she did that historic thing on Night Court, had that iconic role. What can we as a society do better? Not just for the female comedians, but black comedians like yourself.
Well, it's for the black comedians that have gotten their positions, because the white women. So. That's how they've gotten their position. You know how that is. They've got that white woman. That's that white woman. Oh, baby.
Yep.
Can I tell you what Paul Mooney did? Paul Mooney gave Robin Williams, me, Spoon, with John Witherspoon, so many people their first break through the Richard Pryor show.
Really?
Paul gave me the first scene I ever did on TV, one-on-one with Richard Pryor. Was because of Paul Mooney. He was the first or second comedian I met when I got to Los Angeles, and he said his name was Mr. Paul Mooney, and I've been calling him Mr. Paul Mooney ever since.
And he deserves it.
We worked together as recently as a couple of years ago. So throughout my career, Paul has been a constant and has always been a champion and has always been he's one of the most brilliant writers. He does something that nobody else has ever done that I've worked with, and that's that he listens to you and gives you back what you said in a way that you didn't hear when you said it, and makes it funny and makes it work. And it's a talent and a genius that really is underrated, and he doesn't.
Absolutely. Mr. Mooney, are you still performing at all, or what are you doing now?
I'm doing a movie.
Really?
Yeah. White is the New Black. Yeah. White is the New Black.
Oh my goodness! This is really interesting. So, what?
White is the New Black.
The New Black.
White is the New Black.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh my goodness!
I agree with that.
Yeah,
it's the New Black.
Just like 50 is the new 40. I'm gonna take that one too.
Right.
So, what do you mean by that when you say white is the new black?
Well, what I mean by it is that you notice that first of all, the white people, we'll call them Caucasians. The Caucasian folks, they first of all, they tell you who to screw, they tell you who not to screw, and it's just It's too much.
Man.
And
I've been listening to the wrong people.
Yeah, I mean, it's too funny. And the thing is that they now. See, what goes around comes around. And so it is. So the space people are here. They're here already. Yeah, they're here. And so versus, they came and they said, they're not ready. They said that we're not ready. We're not ready.
Right.
They said that we're not ready. And the people who know, and the people who don't know.
Okay, I'm one of those people that don't know. For these 50 minutes that we've been on, and I look forward to the next half hour. So stay with us.
So much better than somebody poking you in the butt at 6 a.m. Go back to sleep.
Yes, that's Marsha Warfield. She's a funny son of a gun, I'll tell you that. Marsha, you are too much. But we're talking to Marsha Warfield, Adele Gibbons, and Melanie Comarcho. And before I get to these telephone calls, I wanted to ask each of you, and I'll start with you, Melanie. When did you know you were funny?
When they asked me to do Def Comedy Jam. Okay.
You didn't know you were funny until then?
Well, I hadn't been doing comedy a year yet.
Really?
Look, I was doing a competition, and you had to do an audition to compete in the competition. And so at the audition, I got a standing ovation, but I didn't make it out the first round. But Bob Sumner saw me at the audition, and I booked it from that. So that's when they said, when everybody else was like, then that's when I kind of figured, okay, I'm kind of funny then.
What about you, Adele?
Well, I've always been funny, but everybody around me has always been funny. Like I said, my mom, my sisters, and my brother. So it was always humor around. But what made me know that I was, they thought that I was more humorous than everybody else was when they had that Crown Royal Comedy competition, and everybody called. Back then we had answering machines, and everybody called my answering machine, and my answering machine was full and blinking when I got home, and everybody kept saying, you should try this contest. They have this contest on the radio. You should do it. You're very funny. Everybody was saying it. So I went and got in the contest, and I ended up winning the contest my very first time on stage, and Bernie Mac was in the contest, and I won this contest. Wow. I was like, maybe I am funny. Maybe they do see something that I don't see.
Oh, okay. And what about you, Marsha? You look like you've been funny your entire from out of the womb.
I used to, when I was about 5-6 years old, I would take out joke books from the library. I was always watching the comedians on TV. There were a lot of variety shows then. I was always attracted to it. I didn't know I could do stand-up or that it was even a possibility. It was so far out of my range of experience that it never crossed my mind that I could do stand-up.
Wow.
Until Tom Dreesen started an open mic night in 1974.
Wow.
At the Pickle Barrel. And
at the what barrel?
And I read about it, and I went.
You said at the what barrel? Did you say
the Pickle Barrel?
Man, now you know you have taken me back. You're talking about in Old Town, right?
That's right.
Oh, God. Wow. I used to love the Pickle Barrel. That's where my father, when we would go out on Sundays, one of our places was Old Town. And we would do the pizza and we would do the candy stores. You just brought back a lot of memories.
A lot of people to be hilarious, but Marsha's got an authentic streak of hilarity in her. She's just, to me, everybody jumps on bandwagons. They like, oh, I'm going to do a video. Oh, I'm going to do this. But Marsha has some stuff to say.
Yeah.
Very profound, very intelligent, extremely funny. I nominate Marsha Warfield.
All right. I'll ask the rest of you. I'll ask the rest of you guys that when we come back from our break. I'll ask the rest of you all that the other two when we come back for our break, and that's when we're going to take. You guys can take some calls from some of your fans.
I don't do the designer thing. I don't do that. There's too much money for just somebody's name and my label. It just don't feel right to me. I think I got a thing they call common sense, and it's kind of contagious. So I figured tonight I just explain a couple of things that, like this. People talking about bling bling. See, there's $23. Bling bling like a mug, ain't it? But don't hug me. I'll snag your mama with this bad boy. I'm telling you.
All right. It's 11:09 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. My name is Perri Small. You're listening to Midday Madness, and that was Adele Gibbons talking about designer clothes. I watched the entire YouTube. It was hysterical, especially Adele when you were with those snooty people that are selling designer clothes, the sales clerks. And
the bees on commission.
Right, the bees on commission. And you said, I still want to know the price of what I'm not going to buy.
That's right. You know I ain't buying it, and I know I ain't buying it. But it's her job to tell me the price of the item that I ain't buying.
And you
want the job.
And you remind those sales clerks quite well that you remember you're selling stuff to me, and
that's right.
You're a sales clerk. All right, then before we went to the break, I was asking you guys, and I had asked Adele which comedians did she like today. Marsha, I'm going to ask you and Melanie the same one. Melanie, which comedians do you like today before we go to our calls?
Well, to me, there's this comedian that is absolutely hilarious. His name is Tyler Craig. Rest in peace. He passed this year. But that guy, I'm not that social media friendly, so I'm not on TikTok and all that. I rarely go. I just go on to maybe post some family picture or something like that, or a club I'm doing, but I'm not on social media like that. So I see the live performances. And this guy, Tyler Craig, I don't know how he wasn't a star. This guy would have me in tears. I mean, have you ever been to a comedy show and they were so funny, your eyes were watering?
No.
That's what this guy was doing to me. And it's hard to make me laugh as a comedian. I've heard it all. This guy, oh my God, so funny. We lost a great talent.
What about you, Marsha? What about you?
I love all these young people. To me, I consider them all my children. And I'm a big fan of all of that. I know what it takes to get up and do what they do. Let's first pay tribute to the two ladies here shared this stage with. Awesome.
You set it off for us, Marsha. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I appreciate them so much. I try not to watch too much comedy nowadays because getting back into stand-up after taking so much time off, I had to start all over again. And I did not want to be influenced and inadvertently pick up other people's things.
I get that.
We tend to do that. We're spongy.
You do that. That's subliminal thing.
Yeah.
You think you wrote it.
So I wanted to do that. So I haven't watched a lot, but when I do, I'm never disappointed. I enjoy them all. And I see, when it works and when it don't, it doesn't mean that it wasn't good. I understand what the mechanics of it are, and I give them so much. You know how you watch kids and you hope for them. You see it. And sometimes it don't work, but that's all right. Come on, pick it up. Let's try it again.
That's good advice. Let's go to Ms. Warren. She's been holding on. Ms. Warren, thank you so much for your patience here on VON.
Thank you, Perri. I always say, you say what you mean and you mean what you say. I want to congratulate our black queens, especially from Chicago. And a big shout out to Marsha, because I know where she hailed from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of where she got her comedy from, I could say this. She got it from Josephine and Willie. She know where I'm coming from. Her mama.
Who is there right now? Who is there talking about my mama?
Yeah, I'm from Morgan Park too, baby. Born and raised. Used to walk down 111th Street and pass you all house. Okay, come on now.
Yeah, that's who I chose, and JJ on the Good Times. And I have a favorite one too, personnel on the radio, and their name is Perri Small.
Oh, thank you, Princess. I appreciate that. Let's go.
God bless you.
All right, let's go to Mama D. Mama D, you're on WVON. Go right ahead.
Hallelujah, greetings. Thanks for taking my call. You know, Whoopi with that that mop on her head, saying she was a brick girl. That was so funny to me. But growing up as the Jim Crow genocide survivor, the first female comedian I remember was Mom. But her pitch was based on age discrimination. He's so old. Today, she'd have to be careful not to offend. However, when I grew up, there was two institutions. There was the institution of the Black Church, and there was the institution of Black mamahood. But all that changed when mostly Black male comedians started with that those mama jokes. So my question is, do you think putting down the Black female in music is like putting down the Black woman in music?
Don't even bother to answer. Let's go to Terry. Terry, thank you for your call. Go right ahead.
I appreciate all you Black women. I know that.
Thank you.
My question is to Marsha. When Richard Pryor did that iconic skit on his show when he was the Black president and Miss Warfield, you were the reporter for Jet Magazine. So funny. How did that all come about? I'll hang up and I'll just listen.
Oh, Terry, you bring up some good memories. Marsha, do you remember doing that skit with Richard Pryor?
Absolutely. I was 23 years old, scared to death, had never done anything like that. Again, Paul Mooney, we were working at the Comedy Store, and when Richard got the series, got picked up after the pilot, he cast the show from people he knew at the Comedy Store. Wow. And we were all new and green, and so they told me to be this Roberta Davies, and all I could think of was the church lady who read the announcements in church, and she was always very proper.
Yes.
With that sort of intonation.
Yes.
She would enunciate. And so I said, Roberta Davies. That's where that came from.
Oh, that is so funny. All right, then. Let's go to Tony, and then we're going to wrap it up after we come back from break. Tony, you're on WVON. Go right ahead.
Hey, Miss Perri.
Hi.
How you doing? Hey, ladies.
Hello.
How y'all doing? Man, I miss you all. I miss you. I love y'all so much. And the person that I missed, that I was so surprised to hear from Mr. Mooney. I was always wondering whatever happened to him. And Perri, you had his two sons on last week. Remember?
I thought that was Dick Gregory.
Yeah. Well, that was this week, but then you had the Mooney Boy.
But I did have
weeks ago.
But I did have. See, I'm confused because I think I did have Mooney's sons on as well as the Mooney twins.
The twins.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I did have them on. I knew I wasn't crazy. Okay.
Y'all so blessed, man. God gonna keep y'all. God gonna keep y'all, man.
He got us.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all was so funny, man. So funny. Thank you. God bless you.
All right, then. Thank you for that, Tony. It's 11:19. We're going to take a break. We'll wrap up with we'll wrap up with three of the funniest women in comedy. There are queens. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that radio. More conversation, traffic, and weather up next on WVON.
support this past year. Now,
we've had a great time today. We had a surprise guest, Paul Mooney, and we have Marsha Warfield, Adele Givens, and Melanie Comarcho. And I'm going to tell you, this has been a hoot. They're still calling, so I don't want our callers to think that I'm hogging this up. So let's go to Green. Green, thank you for your patience. Go right ahead.
Hello, Perri, and thanks for taking my call. I want to give a shout out to Marsha. She's my hero. I went to Calumet High School with her in Jason's Scott. And she also knows my cousin in L.A., Pastor Wilfred Moore. He said he deal with you quite a bit. But Marsha, you always been funny, even in the halls of Calumet. Forever Loyal Indians. Go, Marsha.
Yes, that's right. Alma mater, that's where I graduated from.
You and Shaka Khan.
That's where we were.
1971, Shaka Khan. There were a lot of people, like you said, that came out of
Chicago.
They're out of Calumet. But, there's so much talent in our communities that's untapped. And when you think about the genius of the people who recognized and promoted it, just from the pools of talent around this, Don Cornelius, and Barry Gordy.
Right.
From the neighborhood, those same kids that we did talent shows and things with, and making stars out of them because they were stars. And there's still so many roses blooming in environments that are often overlooked. And there's just an incredible pool of talent, as you can see from the people sharing this panel with.
Yeah, it is just awesome. And to have you guys on together has been one of the great treats of my life. Let's go to Kenny. Kenny, thank you for your patience. You're on.
Hey, how's it going, ladies?
Everything's good.
Hey. All right. Hey, I remember y'all earlier. I remember Marsha. I remember Adele and Miss Comarcho when y'all were on Def Comedy Jam back in the day when my wife and I started dating, and I think I probably was the first one with like a hot cable box, and y'all was just looking like y'all were having like so much fun being on that, man. That's the thing that stands out for me the most, man. And I just want to tell y'all, man, I appreciate y'all. The 90s was tough in the city, and man, when y'all should come on and do y'all thing, man. I appreciate y'all work. Y'all made a lot of people days, man. A lot of people nights, man. I appreciate y'all.
Oh, that is so nice of you, Kenny. You guys have influenced so many people, and the fact that all of you have had those standing ovation moments, and and how you guys look out for each other. I love that. I mean, Richard Pryor didn't have to reach back and have these people, come on to his club. Paul Mooney didn't have to reach back, but that's who we are as a people. And I just appreciate you so much. Before we're out of time, Melanie, are you doing any performing at this time? I know a lot of artists are having a tough time, but for many artists, it's been a blessing because they use social media. So are you touring or doing anything right now, or do you have any plans in the future?
Well, I got something coming, and just follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and it's Melanie Comarcho. It's Comarcho. In about 2 weeks, you'll be hearing what I've been doing while we've been on COVID. And I'm excited about it. I have not been touring. I have not been vaccinated, and I am not trying to catch COVID-19.
I got you. What about you, Adele?
No, I am not going anywhere. I'm like Melanie. I'm not touring. I'm not. They keep pushing the dates back. I have a couple dates out there, but in September, we pushed them back to September, and it's with the Lit AF tour. As when the COVID came in, I was touring with the Lit AF and the Ladies Night Out.
Okay.
So they're trying to put those dates back out, but I'm not looking at it at least until August or September to go back out.
That's a sensible thing to do. Yeah. What about you, Marsha?
Well, in a couple of weeks, you'll hear about something that I've been working on. And I also have started a TikTok series called White People We Need to Talk. And
I love it.
And I also want to say I've taken my first vaccine.
Okay.
I encourage us all to get it, and I understand, I overstand the reluctance and the concerns, but bottom line is, if it'll protect us and keep us strong, and we've been devastated by this COVID, so if anything that will protect us and keep us strong, I encourage us to give that a shot.
Right.
It's better than to have to deal with actually being infected with the virus.
All right, thank you.
And if you got the hookup, Marsha, on the
vaccine, yes.
Tell them you're 65.
Oh, that isn't fair. But anyway, you know, these white people at 26, 27 can get the vaccines. I don't understand these disparities. I don't get it. All right, then.
I got a homeboy on the west side that's selling vaccines on the low. Just hit me up on social media. Come on. I'm over there.
I'm not playing with you all. Marsha Warfield, Adele Givens, Melanie Comarcho, thank you so much for joining us. I had so much fun. Keep up the good work. Yeah, we're gonna keep following all of you guys on social media. All right, then, it is 11:29 on the Talk of Chicago. What's in the news, Hannah?